see how the waves are changing as the water's rushing out. Might have to take the underwater cam up for a minute here and we'll relocate a little bit. There you go. Good view of the fort now. Got a couple on our port side. Hard to tell if they're headed our way or if they're heading back out into the bay, but did just catch a glimpse of them surfacing. Yeah, it's just not a busy day. Excuse me, out here on the river. Pretty quiet. Yeah, if we could swap some of these bugs for some whales, that'd be perfect. It'd be a nice trade-off. To see, my radio's been pretty staticky most of the day. Chat with Sea North after and see how their day was. Maybe it's just a quiet day all around.
Are you from Manitoba?
Nope, from Alberta. How come I chose to work here? I came up last winter. I wanted to come and visit Churchill, and originally I wanted to come to see the beluga whales, but I ended up here for 6 months through the winter instead. And then still wanted to come see the the belugas when I left, and just had the opportunity to come work on the beluga boat, so jumped at the chance to get back up here. Just like most, or a lot of people that are living in Churchill, it seems that people get drawn into this place and they come for a visit, and then they find themselves back not long after, and next thing you know, years have gone by. So this, after all this, it will be probably like around close to 9 months that I've lived in Churchill in the past year, which is crazy to think, actually. It doesn't seem like it. The 6 months that I spent out at the cabin went by in the blink of an eye, and so far this summer has been cruising by extremely fast as well.
Yeah, it still feels like the beginning of summer.
Yeah. But all you do is soak it in and enjoy it as best you can while it's here, and it's been awesome so far out on the river.
Are we gonna get new timesheets?
Yep, I can.
I think I lost my.
So we just did a bit of relocating there. I did see some whales in front of us, so we'll see if we can get their attention, I guess. You're gonna have to come to us though. Look at these birds cruising by.
Birds kind of scared. Squirrels too, like I don't like how they turn their neck. Yeah, that too.
Well, actually, if one of you guys wants to, I got some binoculars and scope around. Maybe we'll get lucky and see if you see a whole bunch of whales, then we could head over that way. Pardon? Well, I'll let you guys look in the binoculars, whoever wants to do it, and then if you spot a bunch, let me know. Just surprised it's really slow today. I might have been hearing maybe that was the musket firing off. That actually makes sense yesterday now that we know that it was cracker shells, why there was puffs of smoke. Oh, you got a few whales behind us. It would have been the cracker shell popping. No. Yeah, those ones, they look like they're headed out to the bay. We've got one more on my side, starboard side. Oh, here's the...
Are we gonna watch the boat like when we're done?
Yep. Two whales on our port side, swimming there a little ways away from us. It's one of those days too where the few that are in the area, it doesn't seem like they're wanting to have too much to do with us, but you ever done any net fishing or anything, Terry? There's a lot of people around that do that. Have you been out?
I have before, yeah, but I haven't really like done it like not recently. And usually it's like there's not that many fish that end up in people's nets anyways.
What are you usually going for? If you wanna, I haven't done it yet, so I don't know a lot. But if you want to tell people about it a bit.
But I don't know. I don't usually do that. If I do, it's with like one of my friends.
Cool.
I remember the first time I went fishing, I like the fish was like still alive and I thought it was dead,
Grab
so
the
like
mic.
started moving and stuff. Like I just cried. I just cried. I was so scared.
What kind of fish?
I don't even know. It was really ugly though. Or the first time I shot a gun, I shot a seal. Oh, that gun hurt so bad.
Oh, couple headed our way and behind us. Oh, they might actually be headed the other way. Well, it looks like the tugboat's out back for a cruise again. You got to see it yesterday, and looks like it's cruising around again now. Might be headed our way. It just looks out in front of the port here right now. So we're just gonna let the current here take us. We'll be cruising along pretty good. Looks like we got a few following us now, and we're heading into a few more in front as well. Looks like a calf possibly behind us too. Starting to hear him on the underwater cam as well, or under the underwater hydrophone too. here we go. Now we're getting some more attention. Good group happening behind us now, and we're still headed towards some more. We won't be able to go too much further before we have to turn around again, but possibly maybe they'll hang out for a bit. I can see one at least down by the camera. We got one still coming, it looks like, maybe. Yeah, there it comes. So finally we're getting a bit of action here. We're at a few whales now that are following along, and I think we got one or two more that are still hanging out. The other ones seem they're kind of on their way out into the bay, it seems. I think this time we'll try to go on the starboard side, or have the tugboat head on my starboard side. We got some cool pictures of it yesterday, and it's heading our way here again, so we'll try to get set up here, and we should be a little bit closer even to it. This might not be good though for the few whales that are still in the area. So have you guys been out to the fort at all? Well, you said you're having
there's a sleepover
overnight.
going on. Yeah, on August 17th. There's a big sleepover happening with a bunch of kids that come here.
What's the group for?
It's just a group of kids that come here to do the snowpacking thing.
The which, sorry?
Snowpacking, snowpack sampling and stuff, and like they go to like Nestor 1 and they stay there for a while. And then they come here for a sleepover at the fort with a bunch of kids from town.
Cool, because Nestor is like it is the only spot in Wapusk that's you're able to actually stay, like the infrastructure.
Isn't there Nestor 1 and Nestor 2? Yeah, but Nestor 1 is like kind of run. Nestor 1 is a good one. Nestor 2 is like too far for most people to go.
Nestor is also the area where a lot of the snow geese and stuff are hanging out, isn't it? They do the banding and stuff.
They do a lot of stuff there.
The researchers in the area.
They even do fox. They do a lot of fox stuff. They do a lot of studying there. Jim Roth always ends up going there.
Doesn't he do the fox poop thing?
Yeah, he's at the fox poop samples, and he figures out what they're eating and their age and everything like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no shortage of fox. I don't know if you guys had a lot around town this year. There's a few Arctic fox.
We kind of did. There was always, everyone probably saw a fox this year at least once.
Last winter, you could wake up any morning and there'd be like 7 white foxes picking at your garbage.
Yeah, there's a lot of foxes last year.
Like stupid little dogs.
I seen a few in town when I was, like the couple times that I was in town through the winter. Oh, we still got a whale hanging out with us.
Could hear him.
Yeah, it's mostly, it seems, we're gonna have to pop up the underwater cam, just get out of the way of this tugboat here. Quick.
That's scary.
There we go. Got some images popping up of the tugboats. So do you guys, when you're spending time out at the fort, then like through the night, do you have tents set up, or how do you?
Yeah, we had tents set up. We had girls and boys tents separate in the little concave walls.
Mhm.
There was a girl tent in one, and then the other side there's another little wall separating them, and then there's a boys tent, and then they had like the adults sleeping in separate ones.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, so inside the fort, we've talked a little bit about it. The walls are extremely thick, so even though the fort itself has a large footprint on the inside, it's pretty tiny. Like there's minimal space on the inside.
Yeah, it is quite tiny.
And it's been like the stone, the walls and stuff are still intact, but the roof that used to be built over top isn't there anymore. And if you look at a map, I can't remember it all, but there is like a mason's workshop. There is I'm not sure what it would have been called, the head person that ran the fort, and the laborers. There's a kitchen. There's all kinds of things. Each spot was designated for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
So that would have been, yeah, and those areas is where you're saying you had the tents then, eh? That's cool.
Yeah, it was really entertaining though. We'd like.
I've never been to the fort.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't been to the fort? Oh, really?
I've lived here all my life.
So interesting fact, Terry's lived here all her life, and I've only lived here for 6 years. 6.5.
Oh, we got a bunch of whales
Oh my goodness.
coming up alongside us, hopefully. Now we're starting to hear them there too. All on our port, our left-hand side. Looks like a bunch of adults mostly. Oh yeah, we definitely have a few. We can hear them squawking away. So where was it you lived before Journey? You said you've only been in Churchill for 6 years.
Yeah, I've only lived here for 6 years, and I lived in Nepal and like Winnipeg That's really it though. I lived in Nepal for most of it though. Probably like 9 years there, and then 6 years here.
Oh wow. And then a little gap in Winnipeg.
Yeah, a little place in Winnipeg. I just went there because I was born there. You know?
I was born in Yellowknife. I wasn't
Oh.
even
Yeah, I was born in.
So how long were you in Yellowknife, Terry, before you
I don't even know.
just?
I just know I was born there,
Oh,
and then
so you're just.
I lived in Nepal for about a year when I was like newborn, and then we moved here, so I could go to school here, and then and I lived up north for a while too. I lived in Nunavut for like 2 or 3 years. That was
really?
like grade 1, grade 2 around that time, so I was still pretty young.
Tough to say. I was going to ask you how you enjoyed it, but I guess 1 or 2 years old, that's difficult question to answer.
I'd love to go back someday though. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to go back to Nepal.
Nepal, it's like a decent sized. Is it? It's not a city, is it, or is it?
No, it's like, yeah, it's like a town.
It has city stuff compared to here.
Yeah, it has like a mall and like, it's a nice mall. It's not a bad mall. It's nice. And then it's like I lived on the res part, and then I moved to town for a little while. The res part's called Baghetti. It's like a little out of town, like a little like 5-minute drive out of town.
Mhm.
And then that's where I lived. I lived in a little 20-plex over there. It was it was a fun time.
I like that Churchill doesn't have, like, there's no McDonald's and there's no 7-Elevens. That's one of the things that I really enjoy about this small isolated spot is that there's none of that around. You have, even if you wanted it, there's just no access.
To be honest, even when it's like a nice thing to have, like when you're out of town for a while, you get sick of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's.
And it's nice to have home-style restaurants too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Churchill, I think, is a very healthy community, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think
everyone's
so.
they seem to be eating really well, and
Yeah.
obviously everyone's very active, and even just shivering all winter is a good way to burn calories if you're looking at it that way.
I think that, considering like how other places run and how like the obesity rate is so high in a lot of other places, I think that our town is very good for that.
Mhm.
Like, none of us are really unactive.
No, it is a busy little town, that's for sure, and everyone
Yeah.
works hard, and just anything else you do for fun involves a fair amount of physical activity.
Yeah,
So
I think most stuff that you can do in Churchill requires like movement,
yeah.
unless you just stay at home and watch TV like me.
Well, we're starting to hear the whales singing a little bit. Well, there we go, coming up just behind me on the